All right, hallelujah, shalom, shalom, peace and blessings, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Masada Watchman. I'm Chief Zebulon Belewi Adekia, and I am joined by my co-hosts, Prince Shaul and Morde Shema Tabriyahu. Right, hallelujah, shalom, shalom, peace and blessings,
Hallelujah.
everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Masada Watchman. I'm Chief Zebulon Belewi Adekia, and I am joined by. I'm getting severe.
Yeah, I'm getting that feedback.
That was some severe feedback right there.
Yeah, that was brutal. Go ahead.
Yeah, don't worry about. Yeah, don't worry about that. That's taken care of. That was a glitch on my part. Because I got the live window on YouTube open as well, just to monitor a few things. But yeah, but nonetheless, oh, you see the brother. You see the brother. Bring it out.
Matter of fact, I'm glad you said that. Let me go ahead and I'm gonna let you finish up, and I'm gonna go ahead and open YouTube on my end too and mute it.
Okay, but yeah, so so again, just in case the feedback overrode on what was being said, I'm Chief Zebulon Adekia. We got Prince Shaul. We got Morde Shema Tadmiyahu. We're still waiting on Brother Yeshayahu to come through. And as usual, we are the Masada Watchmen, reporting frontline issues with no cut. With that said, we're gonna turn it over to Morde Shema Tadmiyahu. Let's get this thing going.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Welcome everyone. Welcome. I'm so glad to be a part of this platform with these gentlemen, man. We got some awesome topics today. I won't say awesome. I guess that's we got a couple good things to bring out. But we got some things we're gonna talk about that we need to talk about. You know, fellas, we gotta get on it and allow, these thoughts, some information out there to kind of try to nip this in the bud, man. I know this been going on for years. A lot of these things that we're seeing been going on for years. But if we can do our part to just change a few people's thoughts for the better, then that's what we want to do. So we're still waiting on Yeshayahu, Isaiah, to come. So hopefully he can come in when he can. But we got to hold it down. Welcome to another week of the Masada Watchmen. We got 3 topics we want to speak on today. The foundation of, I think, us all collectively is community. Can y'all agree with me on that, fellas? It's community. It's the foundation of a nation. And as you're going to hear us speak on often, that is kind of the weak point, I want to say, in or with the so-called black man and woman. So we explained to you all what the Masada Watchman was in the first show. We recommend and we ask that you all check it out if you haven't watched it. So, since we're speaking on community, we have a video that we want to play. And it's actually a whole town. We have some instances, and even today it's still some communities. I believe I was talking to Prince Shaul the other day, and maybe he can bring that out. He was speaking on a community, I believe, in Cali. Was that Cali, Shaul? Talking about? You was talking?
You talking about as far as the Black Wall Street?
Yeah.
Based out of that's based out of California. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. I know. I remember what you're talking about.
Okay. Yeah. We probably bring that out a little bit too. But Yeshayahu actually have presented to us that Toomsboro, Georgia, is actually a whole town that they are trying to sell. I think it's for 1.7 million. If I'm not mistaken.
1.7 million.
1.7 million. And we're speaking on community so often. You hear people speak on it all the time, like we need our own, we need all of this, and we complain a lot. But, we have this opportunity, and I haven't heard enough people speaking up about it as far as putting funds together or figuring out a way to actually take it over. Not saying we should or we shouldn't. But without further ado, let's go ahead and drop that video so you all that's listening can see what we're speaking on right now.
Are you gonna play the video, Aki, or do you need me to pull it up?
Oh, if you can, yeah, I logged out of the main the back.
All right, I got it. We're gonna get it right now.
Okay.
Yo, shout out to Mac for this one. Wow. An entire Georgia town, including 36 properties, an opera house, and a bank, hit the market for $1.7 million. It's a town called Toomsboro, Georgia, is on sale for $1.7 million. It is home to 700 residents and spans more than 40 acres. Wow. Tom Burrows currents to sell to someone to preserve its history. Holy shit. Where's Jay Morrison at? Somebody go get Jay Morrison. And matter of fact, how come Jay Morrison ain't scooped this up? Wouldn't he be like one of the main people in Georgia to get the sellers list? Wouldn't he know about these properties being sold beforehand? You know, they make an announcement in the newspaper, tax liens or whatever the case. You mean to tell me he's not going to purchase this property? You mean to tell me black folk won't get together and scrape $1.7 million to buy their own home
Let's pause there, Chief.
and
It's
police themselves and
the video.
black-owned? That way you ain't got to worry about white validation, white handout.
Can you all hear me? Okay, cool. Well, we was basically trying to. He was going in a little.
Can I hear you?
Okay, he was going in a little bit about the town, and he was basically saying some of the same stuff that we're going to speak on. I wanted you to hear it, but it was breaking up a little bit, so we're going into it ourselves. So, to the panel, I got a few questions in regards to this. I want to hear you all's thoughts on. The first question, from my knowledge, I don't see anybody really jumping on it. So my question is, why are we not jumping on purchasing that town? That's the first question. I got 3 questions. Why are we not jumping on purchasing that town? Being that a lot of us complain about not having our own thing. He went to saying what was in there. Unfortunately, it was breaking up. We couldn't hear it. But I'm thinking it's banks. I'm thinking it's a lot of different things that's needed for a town to run. Why?
That's your Yahoo, man. You might want to mute your mic, man.
Yeah, having some bad feedback on that end. Shalom.
Go ahead. Did you all hear y'all didn't hear me at all?
Yeah, your mic went mute when that started happening.
Yeah.
So we didn't hear the last probably 10 seconds of that.
I basically was asking, why are we not jumping on purchasing this town? Can you all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Chief Zeb, you want to take it first or?
Nah, shoot.
Okay. I was having a conversation the other day with my wife about this because when you first brought it to the group, or when you first brought it to me, and then you posted it in the group asking, Yeshayahu about it, I was saying that, something like that, is very, very possible to achieve, and it's definitely not a difficult thing in, I guess, on paper, you would say. But I think the reason why we can't just jump on something like that is because our people have, as a collective, like, again, of course, we know that it's only a remnant, but those who are a remnant or not don't know who the real remnant is. So it's hard to do something like that collectively, because whether a person is a remnant or not, they're going to want to participate. And when you have a mindset like our people have, that's very, very ill, that's very, very sickening, it's hard to accomplish things of that magnitude, because you're talking about 1.7 million. Anybody that's been in any type of steady groups, camps, whatever the case, or whatever you want to call it, know it's difficult to even get people to put money together to bring a Shabbat meal to class, man. So you talking about
Yes, sir.
$1.7 million, man. Like, that's a lot of money. And again, that's a lot of money to put on the table for, because for us, like, especially with our buying power as Israelite people, like just us that believe that we're Israel and know that we're Israel, our buying power is very, very, very weak. And you're gonna need, I would assume you would need probably no less than 1,000. You know what I'm saying? I would say even a few thousand to put up that kind of money to get 1.7 million. You know what I mean? And that's a huge purchase. And then on top of that too, I'm a get real, like, really real. This is the real reason why I feel like we can't do something like that. Is because, like I said the other 2 shows ago, when you when you're trying to have a nation in the country, or are you trying to have success as a nation, it's 3 things you're gonna need. You need a good monetary system, you need a military, and you need a good political system. You know what I'm saying? To basically go at it with these other nations. Somebody
Right.
that can be a proxy or a face to represent us as a people. Politics
Right.
is very, very important to a nation. And I think people don't understand that, because they look at all the narratives that's being painted about, oh, Trump is this, and Obama was that, and George Bush was this. And so people look at they're more looking at the superliminal aspect of politics, but politics plays an important role of a successful nation. And we need those 3 things, and we don't have it. We don't have good military. We don't really have military at all. We got a few brothers that know how to do some moves, but we don't have a military. We do not have a political structure that's designated to represent us with professionalism. We don't have that. And we don't have a monetary system. We don't have no means or no grounds in which we exchange money with each other, similar to a Black Wall Street. And we lack integrity as a people. And so when you're talking about a small city, even though what I said is basically talking about a nation or a country, in order for that to even be a thing, you have to be able to establish that on a small front. That city needs a governmental structure. It needs a monetary structure. It needs a political structure, and it needs a military. And that city would not work or be able to move forward if people can't even agree on if something is this or something is that. And then you got a whole bunch of, then you got all these different mindsets and different beliefs in spirituality. You got the over righteous, you got the over spiritual, you got the the hard heads. You got all these different type of people that's in this walk that would make getting a city like that very, very hard, because you got some that if we even could even gather up enough people to say they wanted to say that much money to buy a city like that, they'd be like, oh, well, we can't, we can't get into politics because that's sin, or we can't do nothing with the money because that's sin. You got everything is sin heads. You got all them. You got all these different aspects. And so I'm going to let that be where it's at. That's my thoughts on why it's difficult for us to make a purchase that big. Plus, it's 1.7 million, man. I doubt any Israelites have even seen that type of money as far as like their potential to make that type of money. I doubt anyone has even seen that type of money. So you talking about putting that on the table? You talking about a few thousand people putting thousands of dollars a piece up. So who got that type of money to put on the table, and then they can't even agree on what the structure is going to be, or even know if they're going to have what type of security they're going to have for their families. So that's the hard part. I think if we can figure that out, it can be done. But I think that's the stumbling block for us right now. And I'm gonna yield right there at you, Akeem, come in and say something about it.
Okay, man.
Before y'all come in,
Oh,
before
good.
you come in, I want to add. I want to add to that question. So I got why. Hello. Can you mute yourself? Um, I got why are we not jumping on purchasing that tech? Are we afraid that they would do to us as they did to Black Wall Street? Could we and or should we do it now? So you kind of answered a lot of those questions, Shaul. So I just wanted to throw that in there for the rest of the panel.
I'm glad you said that too about the are we afraid, because I think that's another aspect as well, is that our people are afraid that because of the narrative that what happened to Black Wall Street would happen if we purchased that city. Um, I say that couldn't be the furthest from the truth. It's a lot of cities that's occupied and ran by blacks to this day. So that's predominantly black, and that does have black representation too. I mean, they're not in the quote unquote Israelite truth, but they do have black cities that's represented by those who are professional in the political realm, and primarily occupied by blacks. So it's not like it's impossible. So I don't really agree with that. I mean, I know people that would give that answer. I don't agree with that, but that's just me.
Can I jump
Yeah.
in, or I'm sorry, Chief.
Oh, yeah, yeah, good. No, good, Aki.
I'm gonna be real. You got okay. I'm gonna be real quick with it. Um, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be real quick with it. I feel it's a situation where, like, I don't think the fair is anything dealing with a Black Wall Street. When you asked, well, let me start off with the beginning. The first question was, oh, y'all gonna let me out? Um, hold on.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, can you guys hear me? The first question was, why won't we purchase the land? I think it's a level of fear, but I don't think that fear has anything to do with the troubles that happen with Black Wall Street. I think at the end of the day, the fear is actually in our ability to actually do something. Um, I think the fear comes into effect when it's putting up that type of money and receiving a reward. Um, Anytime you go into real estate or somebody's into buying land and selling land, the first thing they look at is how much I can get from it. And buying a type of town like that, and let's say we were putting people in who might be impoverished or aren't making a certain amount of money or aren't able to afford a certain living status, um, one might not be as eager to put that money out there or to put themselves in a situation to deal with their people like that. I think at the end of the day, sometimes we think of the monetary gain versus anything else, whether that's helping the community or increasing wealth in the long term because we want a short term increase. So I mean, me personally, that's why I think where some of the hangups could be for a person saying, well, they're not going to invest that type of money in, because the more people you put into a pot, like you said, it's going to take a couple thousand people to get that bread up. You know, the more people you put to that pot, the more hands that got to get washed. And when it's just like going into a business and you have multiple partners. The more partners you have, the more muddier the situations become. The more red tape that you gotta make sure you cover and go through. And I think when it comes to a daunting task like that, people aren't ready to do it. And then on top of that, I mean, you might have a person that can invest that type of money. Like I believe in Georgia, the Tyler Perry guy has built his own studio that's a couple acres big. You know what I mean? Now that land could
Hey,
have been used to
350 acres to be exact.
say that again. I'm sorry.
I said 350 acres to be exact.
That's what I thought. I didn't want to put a number out there, but I knew it was over 200. But that land could have been used for more than just a recording studio. You know what I mean? For movies and whatnot. That land could have been used for a studio plus development. You know what I mean? But it's one of those things whereas in I can make X amount of dollars if I do X, Y, and Z with this land. You know what I
Right.
mean? Are these towns? And I think when it comes down to it, I don't want to say greed because the person has, the right to spend their money however they please. But at the end of the day, I think it boils down to, people being charitable and being okay with saying, okay, I'm going to lose this dollar amount right here for a greater cause. And I don't think everybody's willing to do that. So I think the fear comes into not necessarily what one group of people or one nation of people or one identity might do to another, but more so um, people are afraid to take that leap out because maybe they might not get their money back or maybe it might be a failed venture. Now you're stuck with this debt that you may possibly have to pay someone and there's nothing there's no dividends given back to you. So I'm a yield on that point and allow everyone else to speak.
Yeah, my platform is kind of in the same vein. I don't know. I don't want to go on a limb and say it's a fear thing because one thing we know about our people is that we spend money when we want to. Okay, you know what I'm saying? It's not like we have a problem with spending money. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to sneakers and it comes to other frivolous things, our people are very resourceful. We start pulling money out of all types of places, pulling money up out of the ground or whatever. So, I hear the arguments that, we can never get together because black people don't want to share. No, it's not a money issue. We've always shown that that we are willing and able to take our funds and allocate them elsewhere. When it comes to building up other people's communities, this is the reason why you have Italians and Chinese people and all manner of people who establish businesses in our communities, because the one thing that they know for a fact is that we might struggle in our own community, but if we go to those black communities, black people are going to help us get on our feet. Black people are going to make us prosper. They know that for a fact. So they know that we have the power to do these things. They know this. Our problem, of course, is, and I always use the Ben Ami example because it was it was the biggest example of that, is that as long as people are talking about residing, going to another land, it doesn't have to be Israel. It could be Liberia. It could be Egypt. It could be Nigeria. Wherever we're talking about, when you start talking about setting up a community where everybody's going to have to put in their respective portion to help build this up, that's where it becomes a problem for a lot of our people, because when you do that, you're now responsible for it and you're held responsible for that. Whereas you can set up something in the hood communities in the hood, whatever like that. There's no real responsibility with that. Why? Because you don't own it anyway. You know what I'm saying? The city owns it. The state owns it. The government owns it. This is one of the reasons why you had a lot of our people, when they had the opportunity to go and build communities out there in Israel, they came back to America. And one of the biggest reasons why they abandoned that and came back to America, because they said, hey, because I don't want to have to wash my clothes by hand. I want to go back to America and wash them in a washing machine. So I realized, like, even in the scenarios like that, you have people who are going into these situations not wholeheartedly, because they realize that if they participate in this, they're going to be responsible for it. They have to now answer to people. And one thing that our people have a problem with, we have a problem with checks and balances. We have a problem with saying, okay, he is the leader. He is the de facto leader in this situation. Let's give him that. He's going to guide us this way. We don't like being told, well, unless it's other nations, they could tell us what to do, but we like being told by each other, you know what I'm saying, to be responsible for this, to, you know what I'm saying, to set up a community and let's live together. One of the big things that I've seen in some of the Facebook groups who deal specifically with these type of issues is that they'll make the argument, and I think it's a straw man argument. They'll make the argument that, well, we can't come together. You know, we can't do these things because we can't come together as a people. And it's like, okay, maybe that could be possible, that we whatever, but we come together for everything else. For anything else, we come together. Think about the Kemet on trial debates that was going on some years ago. One of the only times in the past maybe 20 years where you've seen messianic, not so-called messianic, so-called non-messianic, all manner of Hebrews of different denominations, and you call the name of the Most High different, all of a sudden we all, like vultures, we came in and swooped down on Kemet and joined hands together in these debates. You know what I'm talking about, Prince? We all stood there holding hands, talking about, yeah, Kwam Yasha Allah, Kum Yisrael. So what's the problem? So we can join together and move as a unit when it comes to dealing with our enemies, but for some reason we can't find that same energy when it comes to building with one another for our betterment.
Because it's not madness, that's why.
You said because it's not what?
Because it's not madness, that's why. We can come together when it's madness.
There you go. So I mean, I listen. I've seen enough in my life, Aki, in the Hebrew community, to know that these things are very doable. They're very doable. Again, we go back to like the last show we talked about as far as potential. You know, can we do it with what we have at this particular moment? No, it's not. I don't know how feasible it is, but we've shown in the past that we have the potential to do these things. And so it's not a matter of, a matter of can we do it? It's a matter of when are we going to do it? How are we going to do it? And how much swallowing of ego would we have to partake in order to come together to make these type of things happen? Goshen in Georgia is a prime example of that, where they set up this community, and a lot of the people in that community don't have the same beliefs either.
No, they don't.
They don't. Now some of them, right? And so this is, so we start scratching our head and saying, well, wait a minute. By definition, according to what we've been told in the past, Goshen shouldn't even have worked to begin with. It should have failed from the very beginning. But something happened. Somebody sat, and I know the individuals who sat down and did this, but somebody sat down and figured out, okay, how do we take all of these individuals who don't necessarily believe the same things, who don't have the same outlook on this or that, and how can we pull this energy? How can we pull these resources to make these situations happen, to build this community? And they figured it out. So again, we see the potential. The potential's there. It can be done. The question is, why are other Israelites not able to accomplish it? And so it can't be an issue of it just can't be done. I think it's a matter of you have some people who just don't want it to be done. Because again, it goes right back to the responsibility that it's going to take. You're going to have to be responsible for this. And we don't like answering to each other. So that's my slant on it. I just think that we have this thing where answering to each other is worse than answering to the white man, because we'll work with other nations with no problem and make them prosper in this land. With each other, little things like Yahweh or Ahaya will make me hate you and never work with you.
Right.
Meanwhile,
let me add this to what you're saying.
Meanwhile, white man over here is saying, right. Meanwhile, white man over here is talking about Jesus Creepus, and you're like, yeah, and we'll still work with him. People like, yo, what he believes is, that's his business. You know what I'm saying? It's all about, we just gotta get this work. Whatever he believes, that's him on him. We gotta move forward and get past that. But we never can do that with each other. Maybe it's self-hate. And with that, I'll take a sip.
Hey man, let me add this to what you were saying though, because I think you hit a couple great points. Is that something my father-in-law had told me was that when it comes to Israel, it is, and I agree 100%, 1,000%. It's definitely easier to go along with the madness than it is to do right. When you're talking about
Yes,
a community, buying a city, doing anything of great stature, it's difficult because it's hard to just do right, man. It's just hard to do right in general for people because it requires a lot of concentration. It requires a lot of ingenuity, a lot of manpower, a lot of hands, a lot of resources, a lot of everything, a lot of management. The hardest part about doing right is once you figure out which direction to walk in, it's that much more difficult to manage it and stay on that. So I agree with that 1,000. I think that's a key to what you're saying. Is that it's just people when people like to talk about change and talk about positivity, but when it's actually time to put up or shut up, people back out because I believe that there is a fear, but there's a fear of the unknown, meaning that we don't know if it's going to last. And I'm not even talking about from no external sources. I'm talking about from within our own circle. Are we going to be able to maintain it? Who is going to run it? Who's going to? There's just a fear of the unknown. I believe that we're not going to be able to keep this up, and it's going to fall from the inside out. You know what I mean? I just wanted to throw that into it because I think you just hit some great points about our people. Hey, we can come together because I remember that debate on Kemet. I didn't go. I got invited to go. I didn't go. And I was right down the street from it. I was only a few hours away, but I didn't end up going to it. But a few brothers I was in the camp with went, and that thing was packed, man. They said they made damn near 6 figures off of that, off of ticket sales for that debate. So we got the bread. We can come up with the bread. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
the bread is always there. The bread is always there. So that's why when people are like, yo, like, and real quick, just as a quick example to that, how many times on social media, especially Facebook, because Facebook I think is like the worst of all of the social media platforms, but you go on. How many times have you seen on Facebook where somebody, some Israelite, not no random Israelite that we don't really know, but somebody who might know in the community, they might fall on some hard times, right? Something happened, whether it was COVID-19, whatever the situation was, and vehicle got repossessed, or something happened where they're like, hey, I need a few $100s, I need something, whatever like that, and they get on Facebook, right? Whether it's GoFundMe or whatever the platform that they're using, but they go in there and they say, hey, Shalom Israel, yo, I got a situation, I'm jacked up or whatever, can you can you spare something, $1, $2, whatever the case. right? Now, the funny thing is that a lot of those scenarios, you'll see the people like the comment. They'll be like, yeah, yo, that's what's up. Yo, Aki, just, keep the faith, man. Yo, the Most High is going to provide, or whatever the case may be, and yada, yada, yada. And it might be like 200 people who might like that, like the post or whatever like that. But then when you actually go to GoFundMe, when you click on their link, go to the GoFundMe, they might be asking for like $300, but only like $15 has been donated by two people in 2-3 days. So the thing is like, wait a minute. So with all of these people, you got 5,000 friends on Facebook. Your friends could not donate $1 a piece, just $1. $1 would not only solve. I mean, think about it. If you got 4,000 friends, all your friends give you $1. $1 is not breaking anybody. No matter how you might be struggling, $1 is not going to break anybody. If half of those friends gave $1, nobody in Israel would be dealing with hard times. Nobody. $1. And so I've seen people get upset, like, yo, wait a minute. So I need $300 to get my vehicle out of the pound or whatever the case may be, but then but nobody can help me out on this. But then all of a sudden you see other people selling items, like sneakers or whatever. They're like, oh yeah. Now we always got money to go buy sneakers. We always got money to go, go get some jewelry. We always got money to do a whole bunch of other things. I mean, like this, you got Israelites who buy books. You got money to buy, hundreds of dollars to buy books. But if somebody needs $5 or $1, you can't break your pocket open for that. And I've seen this many times over the years, Zaki. I've seen people disassociate themselves from the Hebrew community on things like that. Like, damn, I'm like, one brother was actually on Facebook, like, yo, I'm homeless now. I asked you brothers, all I needed was $50 to put to my rent. And the brother's out there doing a live, like, well, not a live, but he was doing a video. This was like maybe 2010. He's doing a video outside. The marshal then came and put all of his stuff outside. And he's like, yo, all I needed was $50. And he couldn't even get that. So when I look at those situations, I'm like, yo, it's not that we don't have the resources. I honestly don't. I just honestly think people don't. Some people just don't care. And it goes right back to the issue the issue that we're talking about with the property. I just think that a lot of people. I mean, it sounds good, but I don't even know if they really care about stuff like that.
Shamal,
I think I want to bring.
And I apologize for the rant. I know I kind of
Y'all hear me?
Loud and clear, Aki.
Y'all hear me? Okay.
Loud and clear.
I don't know what's going on. That's a huge lag, man. One of the things I want to bring out before we go forward, I know Yashiyahu, I wonder if he has anything to add. I know he said something about that's what the ties are for as well. I do want to bring out another part to it before I go into ties, and before I go into this scripture I want to bring out too. Even people outside of the Israelite faith or any of these faiths, like, I'm just wondering, and maybe what I'm about to bring out might bring a little more clarity to this question. Why? And granted, I might not know fully what's going on, behind closed doors and stuff, but I haven't saw anything on anybody going forward towards this town. Even if you're not in the Israelite community, just in general, our people are just afraid of doing things ourselves. We want, like you brought out, Chief, when other ethnicities are coming into our town doing for us, and it's like, okay, we don't want to do it ourselves as a collective like we used to. I want to say that. I ain't gonna say everybody, because I know it is groups that are doing it. Even Covenant Brothers that I'm a part of, we're working towards doing things. People in Goshen, like you brought out, they're doing things. Goshen in California that Shaul was talking about, they've been doing things for years. So I don't want to, say that's not happening. But on a large scale, us being the biggest consumers in America, we are afraid to step out collectively. And maybe not afraid, we don't care, like you said. Side topic, I want to speak on firearms too. And the reason I'm saying that with this part, not on today's topic, but it's because I've had plenty of conversations as to with family members like, hey, I'm not getting a firearm. What am I getting one for? But every other ethnicity is. Some talk about they're scared. Why did I bring it up? Because I'm associating it back to this. It's a risk. We're a people that don't like to take risk as well. So I want to bring this scripture out real quick. I just want to read it. Then I'm gonna tell you when I read it, what do I get out of it, right? Proverbs 6, chapter 6, verse 6 to 11. It says, "Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provided her meat in the summer and gathereth her food in the harvest." Now, hold on. Before I go forward, that's 6 through 8. Now, this ant, we say we trust in the Most High Yah. We trust in the Creator. We trust in the many things that the Most High put in place for us to utilize. That's what we say. But we are banking on other people to do it for us. We're doing what verse 9 is. My opinion. How long wilt thou sleep, O sluggard? When wilt thou arise out of thy sleep? Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall thy poverty come as one that travaileth, and thy want as an armed man. We cry out as far as wanting more than anyone here. We are told that our poverty is on the bottom compared to others. That's what we're told. I don't know the full stats and if the stats are accurate or not, but from what I see the stats to be, that's what it is. But the first two verses go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways. What are their ways? Have you ever saw an ant, on the ground? We saw ants working all together. They're making all these moves. They're doing these things. We are doing that. The other nations or ethnicities are. They're doing it. They're putting their differences aside here and there. I'm sure they got a commonality in beliefs, but some have differences in belief, but they're going for the common goal. And that's the bill for the people. That's what those ants are doing. They know what they need to do. They have no, when it's talking about overseeing all that, I'm looking at it from a standpoint of it's nobody outside of them overseeing them. The Most High sat and showed us how we can do it for ourselves. We have the opportunity to do it. And even here, we have an opportunity, and you all brought out great points why we want as an Israelite community, one, do it collectively. But even the people that's not even in the B'nai Yisrael, the Israelite community, that just don't even claim to be us, the so-called black, is still doing the same thing that we're doing. So I think it has to do with we're not being like these when we look at these I guess you could say, the animals of nature and things like they operate differently than we do. They survive. They good. That's how we should be. And maybe some of this is nonsense to some that's listening to what I'm saying, but if you really think about it, we're capable. We are the biggest consumers. How can't we? Last thing I'm gonna say before I let Yahoo come in, and then we got to go to the next topic. One thing my mom used to say to me a while back, and I'm sure a lot of y'all heard this before. When we really want to do something, we do something. That's simple. Nothing special. I don't got no
That's it.
famous words or nothing crazy. When we really want to do something, we will do something. We'll do it.
That's right.
And with that, I yield. Yes, Yahoo, did you have anything?
All right, can y'all hear me?
Okay.
Loud and
Excellent
clear.
points. Excellent points. All you brothers have made. You kind of summed up my very point that I was trying to make. Forgive me. There was a lot going on in the area that I was in, but yeah. It's actually, that last thing that you said, Moray. Shema, the last thing you just said was hitting the nail. When you really want to do it, you would do it. I think we're just not at a point where we really want to do it. Whether it's a combination of fear or not really caring or not really being about it, or just being at a point where it's cool to talk about these things, but not necessarily cool to do it. You know, I think for different groups and different people, it's a combination of all of that. And I think it's as simple as when we really want to do it, we gonna do it. And until that's the case, the spirits that's placed upon us, the actions, the ideals, the goals that's placed upon us would just be that conversation. And it's unfortunate, but I mean, that's just the reality. And then this is not to the people who are doing these things. That when I dropped this video
Right.
of this town, there was a few brothers in there that was like, "Hey, man, we already bought land, which is why we didn't, capitalize on this land because we already have something in the works." You know what I mean? But that's just that group. I'm not going to put everybody in that category and say nobody's doing the work. We'd be hypocrites if we did that. But at the same time, I will say this. There's a whole bunch of entrepreneurs and real estate people and people who operate in that hemisphere. Now, if there's, I do understand you got to take into consideration structural damage and those type of things. It's an old city, which means there's a lot of work that has to be put in, and that
Okay.
1.7 is the start. But why can't it be done? You know, I feel as though sometimes we put what concerns us or what's important to us at the forefront. And right now, I don't think nation building is the forefront yet. I think it's a cool topic, but I don't think it's the forefront. I think the forefront is, you know, all of the various forms of entertainment that we have going on and conversation itself. But I don't think the action portion is what we really want. Because if it was what we really want, we would do it. I look, especially in the area I live in. I live in you know, close to, what most people know, Newark, New Jersey. Which is a town. When you look, the city itself is selling away large portions of property. You know, for under $1 million. This large metropolitan, matter of fact, the largest city in New Jersey is selling away pieces of its land for under $1 million, and our people ain't capitalizing on it. But we fit the majority of the demographic that lives there. Now, I mean, I'm not trying to steer the conversation, but to me, it's all one and the same, and it's that lack of drive to push forward and actually put the work in. You know, but I'll yield there because I know we have to slide off to the next topic. But that's just where I stand on it.
Hey, real quick though, what I forgot to mention about that is it's not impossible for us to come together to try to figure something out. But another part that's big in why we can't do something like that, man, is because you're talking about a city that still has to go under, federal and government guidelines, city codes, so on and so forth. That money aspect and that political aspect is very, very important for that reason. Unless we have people that's experienced enough that understands those codes, city codes, we have to have a police. Yeah. We're going to have, law enforcement. We're going to have judges. We're going to have certified politicians, city council. We're going to have those things. But if everybody is talking about everything is sin, we're not going to be able to do it. You know what I mean? But again, we're not talking about 40 acres. You're just buying 40 acres. We're talking about a city that has legality,
Right.
legislation that has to fall up under state law some type of way. You're talking about dealing with these people on a political level and on a legality level or on a legal level. And again, that's a difficult thing for our people, man, to grasp. It's a concept that big. I don't think people really understand how big that particular concept of this conversation actually is. You know what I'm saying? When you're talking about a city, we're not talking about just 60 acres off to the side somewhere. We're talking about a city.
Right. Right.
So I just wanted to mention that real quick.
That was some great points right there, man. I think that's something that will be a good topic in the future. That is some things that I don't believe we are considering fully. Um, that's a lot of stuff to do. So we're not gonna stay too long on this particular topic. We're gonna go ahead and move on to this. Let's move on to the next one. For those that's been watching this, please comment. Let us know your thoughts on it. For those that go back and look at it again, leave comments on it. We'll go back and check it out and see if we can bring it up before starting the next show. Our thoughts on any comments that you have. So going forward, so we have another video that we want to bring out. And in this video, it is a young woman that, and I want to say this, it is speculation that it's either true or false. We don't know if she was acting, if she was kidding. She came off as though it was real. So we was trying to research that, so we want to put that out there. We're not promoting that this is actually what took place. Um, Although it is some things that said that some of her children were taken, but then again we don't know. I don't know. Yes, Yahoo have found some other information that it could have just been for some clout for her business or for something that she's trying to do. But we are presented as to show that it is this going on in our community. Anything to be said before we press the video? Anybody got any thoughts to bring out about it beforehand? If not, we could go ahead and play at least maybe 3 to 5 minutes of the or 2 to 3 minutes of the first one maybe, and then perhaps the other 15-second one.
Is Yeshayahu gonna play this one, or am I gonna have to? Because how's that working? I'll go ahead and play it.
I don't think he can. I don't think he's on his computer.
Kids, what is y'all mad for? Y'all mad because I didn't want my kids. Like, them motherfuckers came up out of me. I got a right to want them.
It's really not playing. I don't know if y'all can hear me.
But yes, like I said, they got the bitches.
Can y'all hear me?
They gone. Them bitches gone. Them bitches is gone.
Hello?
It's a party. It's a party. It's a party. Hey. It's a party. Okay, y'all, for real, I'm gonna get the crying. They took my kids. was bad as fuck anyway. Fuck them kids. Furniture for real. Fuck them kids, girl. Fuck them kids. I can't let my shit go out. What's up, cuz? They came and got them kids. What's up, cuz? Delilah. What's up, Keith? Cuz? Dog. Fine, sweeter. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. But I'm fucking crying too because they came and got the motherfuckers. It's the happiest day.
I can't hear anything you all did it play.
Okay, Akeem, I don't know what's happening with the video because I can hear it on my end. Well, and not because I'm only playing it, but I'm also seeing the meters go up and down on the screen. So it's coming through. I don't know what's happening, but maybe that's for the best because this woman is very foul mouthed, boy. Oh man. Can y'all hear me?
Kane, I can hear you just fine. I can hear. I can also hear Shema just fine as well.
Were y'all able to? Prince, were you able to hear the video?
Yeah, I was able to hear the video. It's a little choppy, but I was able to hear it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It might be on my end because we had a bad thunderstorm out here earlier and power went off. So power went off in some areas or whatever. So I'm wondering maybe that has to do with the lag. But
I'm not sure what's going on. I know when Yeshayahu was doing it the last few times, it was clear and concise.
Yeah, but in any event, I think we pretty much have the gist of the video. The Mori Shema, he already brought out he pretty much brought out the platform that this female, not the female, but that what the video was dealing with. I think he's trying to get back in. Maury?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay, we're having some real bad technical difficulties here. Maury. Okay,
Can you hear me?
Yeshayahu, you there?
I'm in. Can you hear me?
I hear you. All right. Maury.
Yeah.
Okay, you can hear me. All right. Yeah, I don't. You're actually on the screen twice.
I know. Let that one be because I can't. I'm logged in with you, so if I log out, the whole show cuts off. Next time, I'm gonna keep myself off if you log in. So I'm in the other room while the computer's up in there
All right.
on my phone.
Okay.
So I didn't hear none of the video. Hopefully, you all did it for me. I was live. Everything's moving not good now. I'm on my phone, so.
Well, in any event, I think like you said, you already kind of laid out what the platform of the video was. Black woman celebrates after CPS takes away her 7 kids. F them ugly ass kids, as she says it. I think Yeshayahu was suggesting that he had found information that that would indicate that this was publicity stunt. Is that correct, Yeshayahu?
That's what he said. Is he? I don't see him on. I just see us 3. Oh, there he is.
Okay, here it is.
Hello, can y'all hear me? Man,
Yeah, I hear you now.
Yeah. Technical difficulties this week.
Yeah, all across the board.
Okay, so I should be clear now. I've switched my headphones and everything else, so I don't know what else to do on my side. But yes, so when we first stumbled upon this the other day, I was talking to my brother and his lady, and we were having multiple discussions on what was going on, what was the status of the situation with this woman, and each situation we seen evidence that this could have been fake. A whole bunch of laughter on Facebook, other posts that kind of contradicted what was going on, and posts from the woman herself. I'm not going to mention her Facebook name because I don't want to bring any attention to the nonsense more than what we already doing. But
Right.
it didn't
Right.
seem to be feasible as we broke into what the situation was, and everybody I think probably knows to some extent that I work with children who have been removed from homes for various degrees or what have you. Um, and it's always a toxic situation. So while that's the case, I guess we can kind of dig into what we each seen from the video. I don't know where you all want to go, but
Did you
I've
all
seen
play the
evidence.
15-second one too?
Okay.
Yeah, because what I did see, even though she backed out on the original post, within that post, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, she had said something about them only taking a couple of her children, not all seven.
Yeah, but okay. So along with that, I seen posts that stated that she only had one child.
Right. See, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, it's all over the place. But like I was saying, whether the point is how many kids she had or not, this is still um a situation, that happens far too often within our communities, which is the
Right.
relevance, in my opinion, on why we should talk about it. Whether this woman was doing this for fun, or this was just a joke, or maybe she did have some deep-seated issues with her children, or what have you. That thought process is not one that is uncommon. We each in our personal lives have seen this outcry, of a situation. So, I mean, that's just my own personal opinion. I'll yield to anyone else.
All right, let's play the 15-second video if we can. Before you play it, I wanted to play it mainly because the question that should be asked here, because this still is something that, um, in my opinion, because I want to know you all's opinion and the listening audience. Do you think what we're about to show plays a part on the outcome of our children? Um, should we be doing these type of things with our children? Um, does it have anything to do? Does it have anything to do with how any encouragement, I want to say, of how the children, as far as the boys or the young men, view the women? So I just wanted to put that out there too. Are you able to play the video? Yes, Yahoo.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Whenever you
It's
can.
actually queued up right now.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to share video. Uh, I'm sorry. Trying to share audio. Here we go. Here's the video. I'm enlarging it.
Yeah, we're not saying anything.
You're not saying anything?
No, I don't know
Okay.
if Chief got to allow you to see it. Allow us. Okay, now we see something. Wait, he has his. I think you have to take your. video, make your video be seen, Chief? Maybe, I don't know.
Okay, I'm
Yeah, I don't know.
trying
I'm
to.
not. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be showing up.
Do you guys see it now? It
No, that's
says
a
that I'm
negative.
sharing.
No.
Okay, let me stop sharing again. Hmm. Okay, let's try this one more time. Share screen. Click the screen. Share audio. Um, is it working?
I don't see it, Aki.
Okay, so maybe I'm not able to share it. Um, what I can do is put the maybe I can put the link to the video here, and maybe one of you guys can try to take a stab at it. Hmm.
Or we can just discuss the
Just discuss the nature of the video itself.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, because this yeah,
Too
yeah.
much going on. All right, and it looks like Moray is off of the stream now, but I guess I can go ahead into it and start things off. Well, in the video that we aren't able to share, the same woman who is praising the fact that her kids were taken away was involved in I guess we could say twerking. Um, it wasn't I guess it wasn't an extreme case or whatever that may be, but she was in very very provocative clothing, you know, dancing and everything with her kids in the middle of the street on top of cars and I guess in the house as well. And it was I guess a video from TikTok. Am I explaining this right? Anybody want to add anything in? Hmm. Can anyone hear me?
Can't Aki? I don't know. I don't understand what's going on with the audio, but yeah, but just to kind of go into your question, if I understood your question correctly, uh, that the I don't know whether the whether there's truthfulness to the video, these videos or these clips or not. I think it gotta go back to something that Shema. Hello. Hello.
Hello,
I
can
can
you
hear
hear
you.
me, Chief?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just started hearing a whole lot of feedback. We are having a very bad night tonight on the technical side.
Yeah, we might have to. Man, I would hate to cut this show short on the
No, we
technical
can't cut it
side.
short. We gotta finish it out. Gotta finish it out. It's already an hour and 8 minutes in, y'all. You know, we almost done. Can y'all hear me?
Can I hear you, Aki? Oh boy, this is madness.
Okay, everybody keeps dropping in and out. All right, well, if we're gonna continue on, the show must go on, as they say. Um, Chief, you can hear me clearly, correct?
Kane, I can hear you, Aki.
Okay, so I was explaining the 15-second TikTok video, but I believe
Right.
I don't think you were able to hear that, but I don't know if the audience was either. Long story short,
I heard you
um,
break it down. You were hurt.
okay,
You were hurt.
okay, so yeah, it's disheartening to see that, and that was kind of the debate within my family's household. My brother friends of the family, you know, his lady, all of that. We were talking, and when does it stop, or when does it cease to be having fun with their children and exposing them to harm,
Right.
And the conversation was that enough to have the children removed in this day and age? I don't find that to be so. Um, but you know, I guess if you want to use like I don't even want to say logic, but in my opinion, I don't think that's of a proper course of action, for a mother to be engaging with her children in that manner. Dancing is one thing. Somebody brought up the point, maybe they were at the beach and that was beach wear. But I'm like, yeah, dancing on top of cars, and we as a people, in my opinion, are overly sexualized anyway. And the sexual stimulus is one that drives our nation, so much so that all of our memes, all of our characteristics are related to that's just that. And there ceases to be substance. Now, combining all of these issues together, and we see a situation like that, and I brought up in our private conversations, I brought up situations with the the New Orleans culture, and the
Right.
provocative dancing, and even in Florida, how they have children 4 or 5 years old who know how to do, dare I say, all of the stripper moves and provocative dances that we see adults doing, and sometimes even better. To me, it's a problem, and I know we're switching, but with the guise of unity and strength, and togetherness being the key, there has to be some cultural changes that need to be made, because we're at a standpoint now. We're in a situation now where what we're doing hasn't been working. You know, what we're doing hasn't been working, and to see a woman go through that, with her daughter and everything else, is sad. It's sad to see that happen, and it's sad to see, not only her go through that, but to see the children have to be, exposed to that nature, and to grow up thinking that that's normalized. I'm a yield. I'm a yield because I don't want to sound like I'm rambling.
Yeah, so I just wanted to bring out that with the sexualization that we putting on our children, that's just a fact. I don't think
Right.
that it's smart to be dancing, and I wish we had the video like that with your children. Can you delete the one for me, Chief? That's not talking, because I don't want to throw anybody off. But yeah, hold on one second. The the type of dance moves that they're doing, like he said, the stripper moves. You seeing these children dance that way, and what it starts to do, in my opinion, um, is setting the stage for how the young adults or teenagers begin to, uh, see each other, view each other. Um, the hormones are going a little bit more. They are, seeing these body parts, because she was wearing, like you said, the type of clothing she was wearing. Like, you're showing your children this is okay. Somebody said the beach. Okay. We can say that, but we don't know that. That's an assumption. We can't assume it if we don't know it. They didn't look like they had on beach wear from what I saw. They was in the middle of the street dancing, you know. Um,
I just, when I saw that, I immediately started thinking of how my daughter, what I'm saying, what she's going to be accustomed to or around, And with that, I yield.
And mind you, Akeem, that much of what we're seeing, and we actually discussed this on a few occasions on our last platform, love language. But everything that we're seeing, especially with with the with the over sexualization of not only women in general, but young girls. We're not talking about 20-year-olds anymore. We're talking about 9-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 5-year-olds. A lot of this is the end result of the women's lib movement. Earlier today, I was watching I don't know if you brothers remember this show back in the 70s called the Dick Cavett Show.
No, I didn't recall.
Yeah, it was a different generation. I was real young when he was at the tail end of his popularity, but basically it was just like any other talking head type of show, but he would bring people on and it would be more like a lot of intellectual jousting on the show. And I was watching an episode and it aired in 1970 where they had Hugh Hefner. He had Hugh Hefner on the show along with two white women who represent the feminist movement. And in 1970, the attitude towards women being over sexualized and being used for sexual and monetary gain, this was something that was early on rejected by the feminist movement. Their attitude was like, no, women being objectified and made to be over sexualized, it is evil. It's because of patriarchy. I mean, they were adamantly against it. But then times started to change, and what they realized was, wait a minute, why be against it when we can just simply profit from it? So once they saw that over sexualization of women and females generally actually brought an income in, once they saw that it was financially feasible, then all of a sudden, feminists are not against being women being over sexualized. In fact, now in the times that we live in, you can have songs that are put out by Rihanna and Beyonce and all of these other Janelle Monáe and all these other feminist type of artists. They can put out songs where they refer to themselves as being sexually empowered beings. That sex empowers them. And what ultimately that social experiment that we call women's lib, what it actually showed in the end is that they're not against women being over sexualized at all. They're only against it when women are not benefiting from it. And so when you see these videos with these young girls with their daughters standing on vehicles twerking or whatever like that. Now we might look at it as foolishness, but in the eyes of feminism, they're like, hey, this is empowerment. This is showing patriarchy in males that we are powerful. We are powerful creatures. You see it on BET all the time, where they hype up the issue of sexuality with black women, and they make it so that sex and empowerment is one and the same. But ultimately, it kind of undermines the whole point of feminism, because what you're really saying is that females are not even in the same league with men, and the only thing a female has to offer that they believe will balance the scale is their behind and their vagina. That's all they have, you know what I'm saying, to offer. Because outside of the sexualization part, women have nothing or that's on the level of a man. That's what they don't even realize that they're pushing this narrative, but that's what they're ultimately saying. You never hear feminists say women are intelligent and they start pushing the intelligence of women. That's not what you see. What you see is over sexualization. That's what is empowering to women now. So if you remove if you remove the sex, there's no power. So that's why you see these women constantly making a show of their sexuality, because they ultimately have nothing else to offer. And we can thank the women's live movement for that, because they're the ones in the mid-70s that began to push it, and and our women accepted it, and now they're running. So everything that you're seeing now is really, it's the fruit of that tree.
And I want to add to that. I want to add on that real quick. I'll be short. I really do love that you brought that out. I really do love that you brought that out. I think that when you take that away, it goes into our culture. It goes into our culture. One of the things that we push in our culture when it comes to like courtship, one of the things is no sex. That's one of the things that's pushed through the courtship part. Why? Because if you, depending on, especially most of us, the individuals that we have in our community, where we wasn't taught to speak on things and learn each other in a way that is outside of physicality. There's not a lot of things that we try to focus on as far as building with one another. Finances, structure, roles within the man and a woman household, building that type of connection. So when you brought that out and said, without sexualizing them, it's really nothing to offer. I knew what you meant when you said that, and I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, what you meant in today's modern society, that if that is removed, a lot of women and or men, mostly I would say women, they wouldn't be able to have the type of hold that they have on men today. They wouldn't be able to get away with certain things that they get away with today. It would cause true. It would cause both parties to truly get to, build with one another. So, with that being said, going back into our regular conversation right now, that movement, they knew exactly what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing, and they're taking hold of our people in a bad way. And that's just my 2 cents.
And there's absolutely no question that they know exactly what they're doing, because again, sexualization of females only became okay when they realized that they were able to monetize it. And this was something that I had brought up a while ago as well, that if you ever notice, when feminists go on their rants about women being objectified, and the videos, the rap videos, they're making women into this, that, and the third. If you ever notice that there's always an energy that's against that, against women being objectified in that respect, but you never see anybody from the feminist movement boycotting strip clubs. You've never seen them boycott strip clubs, and the reason why you don't see that is because in the strip club, women are actually able to take control of their finances there. So it's quite different than a pimp situation. With pimping, you know what I'm saying? The women don't touch the money at all. Like, no, you get the money, you give it to me, and then you get this hand. That's what you get. But in the strip club, the women no longer. Basically, the strip club allowed them to cut out the middleman. They're able to cut the pimp out and say, no, I'm going to work in here. The money, I'm getting the money right off rip. And so once the feminist movement realized that strip clubs and that in that platform was financially suitable, and you could benefit from that, and women were able to now, quote unquote, pay their way through college and do all of these great things from stripping, the feminist movement backed off of it and said, oh, well, you know what? Objectification of women is okay if women are doing the objectification. If they're doing the objectifying and they're financially benefiting from it, then it's okay. But if a man does it, say that again.
I say you see the hypocrisy and the double standard in that.
Oh, absolutely. But you know what? But that's probably one of the smartest moves. Probably the only smart move that the feminist movement ever did was when they realized, wait a minute, why are we bucking against the men? We don't want to be equal with them. We don't want equality. We want to usurp them. So let's stop talking about objectifying women is wrong and just find a way how we can control the objectifying. We can control the objectification. If we can control it and cut the man out of it, then sexualization is not a bad thing, as long as we're controlling it. So they're kind of like, that seems to be their platform, and that's actually smart. It's wicked as hell, but it's smart because they just said, they basically said, you know what? No, we're gonna cut dude out. We're gonna cut the pimp out. You know what I'm saying? And we're just gonna pimp ourselves because at least we'll get the money from it. We'll get all the money. So it's better to pimp yourself than to have somebody pimp you. It's like, wow, really? So,
hey, let me say this, man, about that. The woman or the women will do that because, like you said, they want to usurp the man. They're mad that they're women and they weren't born a man. That's why they want to do that, because they wish they were a man. They wish that they can start a civilization and build it. Because I mean, ain't not nowhere in history have a woman ever built civilization. I don't care what nobody says. You can say all you want to say. Okay.
You're gonna have a lot of people disagreeing with you there.
I don't care. Okay.
Hold on.
One time in history has a woman built civilization.
Hold on 1 second.
Now let me say that again. I did not say that she didn't help. I did not say that she didn't have any involvement. I said she never built civilization. That's a man's thing, bro. So
no, we're clear on what you said. There's no argument there. We're not arguing it.
Yeah, I'm
sure.
I'm doing that for the listeners because I know somebody gonna trip, but I don't give a damn. Okay, I'm telling you right now, one more time.
They're gonna say that you are the devil the Bible speaks of.
One time in history has any group or demographic of women built civilization. Again, never said it did not help or contribute in some way. But, the woman's contribution to building civilization was having the children. Let's just keep it 100 right now, okay? That was their contribution. They didn't lift a hammer or they didn't do none of that, okay? That's just not what it was. And, I know somebody going to say something like, but, you got women, construction workers and all that. It's like, look, man, nobody's saying that. We're not talking about whether somebody is weak or strong and you can't pick up a hammer and nail something. We're not talking about that. But what I'm referring to, I'm not referring to the physical labor. I'm referring to let me say this. I'm not just referring to the physical labor. I am referring to the actual blueprint and the mental structure that it took for that society to be put together. Whether it's the monetary system, the military system, the political system, all that was put together and constructed by men. The whole blueprint, the brains and the mastermind, everything behind how things flow, the order, the structure, all that was done by men. Period. You know what I'm saying? Now, the woman is essential. she's needed for, you know, society or a family or a community or a city to function. You know, she's definitely, it's not to say that she's not important, that she's not needed. The woman is definitely needed. But let's keep it 100. Let's talk about what our roles were and what they are. You know, there's certain things a man can't do that a woman can do, and there's certain things a woman can't do that a man can do. That's just what it is. A key and a lock is not equal to each other. At the end of the day, it's just not. It is not even about being equal. I don't even understand why that's even a topic of conversation with females or men in general.
That's a good,
They're,
and that's a
they're
good analogy. That's a good analogy you gave with the key and the lock. That's a
yeah,
good one.
a key and a lock is not equal, but they complement
That's
each other.
yeah.
You know what
I'm
I'm
about to co-opt that and make that doctrine.
saying? You know, and it's not about being equal because there's no way that we can. When you're talking about something being equal, that means there's a comparison between the two. They rival each other. You can't compare a man to a woman or a woman to a man. They're two separate different, they two different things. You can't compare the two. So there's no way that they can possibly be equal just in scientific terms. You can't make a woman and a man equal. They just don't match like that. Now you can say a man and a man is equal, but not all men are equal. You know what I'm saying? You got some brothers stronger than others, some brothers smarter than others, some brothers, you know, can do things that other brothers can't do. But at least when you're talking about two men being compared to each other, there is there is a battle or a race there to where you could make a man equal to another man because they're both men. But when you're talking about a
Right.
man and a woman, you're talking about a key and a lock. You cannot make a key and a lock equal to each other. A key has a purpose, a lock has its purpose. There's no way you can compare those two. They complement each other. So that's the thing. But again, when you have a lot of these women from the society, which I call children with breasts, because that's what they are. You know what I'm saying? Women that think the way that they do, and that has allowed the society to come in. Well, you know, let me not say that. I'm gonna say the men that run the society have allowed the women to come in and take over. Now they're not gonna be able to usurp those men because those men run society. They make them
Okay,
think that they can, but they're
okay.
not gonna be able to. But really, the real fight
That's right.
or the real war is between was with the brothers at the bottom, and that's the so-called black man. We are at the very bottom in the society. I mean, even they even put the woman over us. It was an article that was done by the new I think it was Fox News a few years back that did a study on feminism and basically the wage gap between men and women. Now the Fox tried to make it about basically the wage gap between women and all men, but technically that chart that they posted was only a wage gap between women and white men because most
Huh.
women make more than black men. I mean, black, like I said, the black
Wait,
men in the
wait.
society are at the very bottom.
Let me jump in real quick. I'm gonna let you finish. I just want to say this one thing. I'm glad you popped that out there.
Yeah,
I was just gonna bring that out. The feminism music. I mean music movement. Wow, I'm thinking I got to do a song, y'all. The feminism movement was actually between the white woman and the white man, and then the
yes,
white
sir.
woman
That's right.
brought the black woman in, and they don't even know it. But go ahead.
That was
I'm
a
gonna go after you.
political strategic political move on their part because that was the second wave of feminism. That first wave of feminism did not catch. It didn't
That's
catch the
right.
wave like they wanted it to because and that first wave was white women against versus white men. Now, when you talking about our people, nowhere have we ever tried to do what the white man was doing to their women to ours. We never tried to do that. But it was a political move on the white woman's part to get the black woman associated with it because we were going into integration anyway. And so since we were
Right.
going to be living in the same cities in the same, communities with each other, why not make this group a mixed multitude? And that's what they did, and they succeeded. They had no other choice but to do that. They had to do that because if they didn't, it would have died out that second time as well. But
Right.
if you get, and then you're talking about the 60s and 70s when the second wave of feminism started. And we all know integration, children being raised by the television, which is our generation, and those a little bit older than us, raised by the television. You know what I'm saying? Well, a lot of our parents was into the cocaine and, the rock and roll. The 70s was crazy. So a lot of us know that already. So a lot of us a lot of us from that that was born between the 70s and 80s and the 90s were raised by the television and raised by society commercials and school and whatever the case was. And that's what integration did to us. And it also took the black man out of the household, and it essentially put the black woman on top and had her running everything. And so that fuel feminism a lot more, because now you have the delusion and you have the narrative for people to believe in. And really, I was talking about manipulation earlier. It is, people, some will probably describe manipulation as some type of science experiment in the lab or something, but manipulation is really, really easy to do. Manipulation is nothing but a narrative or something that you can get somebody to believe. If you can get somebody to believe a narrative, you control their mind, because everything else you say that's within that narrative, they will follow and they will adhere to. That's what mind control is. So once they put that narrative out there, when they started feminism and integration came into play, and the black man was taken out the household and all this stuff took place, this is when they started to bring that programming in. Now you see all these old time classic male leading role films is being remade by women as the leading role. You know what I'm saying? And they doing that to program the young women. They're doing that to program the young black women. They're doing that to program the young white women and all the other young women that adheres to westernized culture. And the reason why, I'll give you an example. If you go on Netflix, what's the name of that show that you was watching with the one black lady and the two white ladies that was child? Huh? Good Girls. It's a show called Good Girls on Netflix. And the first episode, it's basically a show about these three white women. They got families. They going through hard times, and they basically went to go rob a bank to get some money, and they had some personal stuff going on. Put it like that. They all had children. Now the black woman, this is the only black couple on the show, at least starting off. They have a daughter that's sick. I believe she has sickle cell or cancer. But she's sick and she's like on crutches or whatever. Like she, got the little breathing tube in her nose, right? The very first episode, they got this young girl in the classroom talking about she's a feminist and she's trying to lead the way for women, the young girls that's sick, to stand up for what they believe in and lead their households and stuff like that. The very first episode. So they already got their group of women. They're trying to get the young girls now. That's why you see the Oceans. We got Oceans 11. Now you got Oceans 8. We had Men in Black. Now we got the Men in Black with a woman leading role now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We got Ghostbusters. We had
Right.
the classic Ghostbusters with Bill Murray. And now we got the Ghostbusters with three white women and one black girl. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're remaking all these classic male leading role because they're trying to channel the energy of a man. That's why, because they wish they were men. You know what I'm saying?
I want to
Yeah.
Think
jump
like
in
a
and
man.
say something real quick. Yeah, think like a man, think like a woman too. I want to say something real quick, man, and I want
Can.
Yahoo and Chief Zeb to come in. But I do want to say I appreciate I want to apologize to those that's watching right now and those that might be watching later. But what of a hell of a bounce back that just took place with Chief and Prince Shaul. I love what was just said. I love what was brought out. Keep it moving, man. We bounced back. We had the show was messing up a little bit. We apologize for that. We're gonna make sure it's good next time around, and we're gonna make sure it's fire. So I'm gonna pass it on to Yahoo again. Prince Shaul, man, love what you were bringing out, man. You got us back on our game. You and Chief Zed.
Gang,
Yes, yeah.
gang. Hallelujah.
You know what? They pretty much laid it all out right there. So I'm gonna let their words resonate.
Kang. Okay. Well, we got one last topic, man, to speak on. I kind of want either Yeshayahu or Prince Shaul to bring it out. I saw you all discussing about it was about a post. Can one of you take over as far as that topic? And then once we're done with that topic, we're going to go ahead and go into the fishbowl follies, forgive me. Go into the word of the day, and then go into the I'm not going to hold you. Can't hold you. So, and we're done. Okay.
Okay, are we talking? Y'all about? Are you guys going to show the post, or
Oh,
you
that's
want to read it?
yeah. If you can you read it? If you can, I think we got it in the chat.
Can. I'll read it. Let's see here. All right, here we go. Now it said it was a post by a sister. Now it was a brother that posted over. It was a post that was posted by the sister. I'm not going to say her name or whatever. But basically, she said to the poly men of Israel, you should take on the sisters who have multiple children and without a husband to help them lead those children. For I think they are in need the most of reproach taken away. Just my thoughts. And that was shared by a brother who said, I love the idea of polygyny. However, it's not practical for everyone. However, our sisters need us more than ever. All lust aside, you can still take a humble sister and her children in without being their husband. I just be a good brother. Can you do that first? Sheesh. And he put up Ecclesiasticus 4:10.
Hey, Chief,
Now,
Prince O, can you do me a favor? Can you read the last two sentences? Because there was a lot of noise, and I couldn't hear you. I don't know if they could. The last statement that he made, when he said something, I forgot. I couldn't hear it. I don't know if they heard it or not. Forgive me.
yeah, I was actually talking about I was actually reading a part with the brother that actually shared the post, what he said on top of her commentary or her
Yeah,
post.
we heard that part. Just the
Okay, I
last
got you.
two sentences of what he said. I
Got
didn't
you.
hear.
Got you.
Okay.
Maury, were you saying that you wanted Shaul to read the last two
Yeah,
sentences?
yeah. I was trying to get him to read the last two because we didn't hear him,
Okay, I
and
got you.
and
It
then go
says,
into what he was saying after that. Yeah.
okay, it says, all lust aside, you can still take a humble sister and her children in without being their husband. I just be a good brother. Can you do that first? Sheesh. And then he put Sirach 4:10 or Ecclesiasticus 4:10. Um, and that was the commentary on top of what the sister had to say. Um, I think I think this topic is prevalent because I'm seeing a lot more sisters take on this mindset and
Mm-hmm.
speak more socially about this idea that a man has to, or they feel entitled that a man should do something for them and they're not getting anything in return. And I think that is connected also to what we was talking about earlier with the sister who allegedly had his 7 kids taken away. Because see, this is what feminism has done. It has allowed. It has. Well, I mean, women in general, a lot of them don't take accountability or responsibility for the decisions that they make. When they get hurt from a decision that they make, they want to blame it all on the other person. But what feminism has done, it has enhanced that and has allowed the woman to take no accountability for none of the decisions that she's made. And I say that to say you can have a sister have 7 kids, or multiple children, and she can still bash the man, blame it on the man, or she can do stuff like what allegedly the sister did and have them taken away. And really ain't too many people have a problem with that, or people actually agreeing with that. And that's
Okay.
what I'm talking about. That's what feminism had done. Because see, had a man done that with just one child,
Yeah.
if a man had done that with just one child, it would have been a problem. Not, and I'm not even talking about the court of public opinion. I'm talking about that joker probably would have had the government, the police, everybody at the house.
That's right.
Talking about arresting this dude and putting him in jail for multiple years because he got on social media and bragged about it as she was doing. So this is what I'm talking about. Now going back to this post, for a sister to make a post like that, to say that a man who may already have a wife and children should be obligated to take her on, and she has multiple children, and he doesn't have to be her husband, or she don't have to be his second wife, and he has to essentially dish out an extra amount of income over, in addition to the responsibilities that he already have. I think is asinine, selfish, and I think for a woman to feel like she's entitled to that is extremely selfish, and it's just wicked to even have that mindset. And the last point I'm gonna make on top of that, to go along, but before you guys get your thoughts on it, is that stuff like that is realistic for a community. You cannot expect for one man on his income and whatever else he got going on to be able to dish out extra money for several kids. Because I mean, the post did say multiple kids. It didn't say just one. It said multiple kids. So again, say this brother already got 2, 3, or 4 or 5 kids, and then you got 3 or 4, 5 kids. Like, bro, ain't no like. Look, everybody ain't look, I would throw say a bold statement and throw this out there and say a lot of brothers ain't nowhere near able financially to just take on a burden of kids that's not theirs like that. Not no 3,
Man.
4, 5 kids, and then not married to you. You're not combining your income with theirs. He basically just taking care of his own bills, his responsibility, his wife, his kids, and then he's giving out an additional amount of money or income. That ain't
Okay.
fair to that. That's not fair to that one brother, and that's not even righteous that you would put a burden like that on one person to do, because that's not scripture. And at the end of the day, again, that's a community. That's a more of a communal aspect. When we hear cliches like it takes a village to raise a child, that's exactly what it is. A village. It ain't just it takes a brother to raise a child. Like, nah, it takes a village to raise a child, meaning that we have to have a community. You cannot put that burden on one man to do it on his own. And so when everybody is divided and all over the place, living in different cities and states, when you're talking about something that big, that is an impossible task for one man in one city scattered all over the place to do. So at the end of the day, I'm gonna yield with that. What are you brothers' thoughts on the what are you brothers' thoughts on the entitlement issues
Man.
that our women have, putting these burdens and expectations on men that they themselves cannot equally bring an expectation to the table to offer to that man? What do y'all say about that?
Can I get next? Can I please get next? Let me please. All right.
Okay.
So before I go into that question, please hold that question for me. I want to talk about the topic really quick. Well, as quick as I can. Let's be realistic real quick. Please let me know if y'all can hear me nice and clear, because I want to make sure my words are heard. Can you hear me, Chief?
Loud and clear.
Cool. All right.
Clear.
It is some realistic
I can hear you out.
aspects. Okay. It's some realistic aspects that we're not looking at. And this is something that I promote heavy. Okay. So if it was just an instance to where the woman lived around the corner, she's familiar with you and your wife and your children, and she does not have anybody to kind of be a father figure to the children. and it's upon your availability to kind of, hey, bring them around with your children type stuff. Cool. That's something that is up to the man, of course, and his wife, and that could be doable, perhaps, right? But if you're talking about from the standpoint of the way they presented it in the post, it's some things that people not looking at. Here's a couple things. One, if the if the woman is wanting this man to do this, now I'm not even going to talk about the part that Prince Shaul brought out, because he's bringing facts. You know what I'm saying? This type of expectation without getting anything in return is kind of bonkers, for lack of a better word. But they'll say, "Well, that's not Torah." Yeah, I can. That's perspective. I can show elsewhere. But I want to bring this out. Are the children unruly? Are they able to listen to you? How are they with you? Well, that's why I want you around. I want you around to teach them. Okay. Are you going to allow me to do with them the same thing that I do with my children? Because me personally, Morris Shema, based off a lot of people that I see with their children, I'm a different type of authority. I'm different. Like, I don't let a lot of stuff that a lot of other parents do with their children. Are you going to be okay with that? That's something that they leave out. Are you prepared for that? Are you going to let me be that authoritative figure? You know what I'm saying? Going back into what you're saying, I know somebody, they brought out what scripture is that, Chief, when it talks about taking um it's a certain number that they use about the wives, in this time when it's real hectic in the scripture. I forgot what prophet was speaking on that. Probably shouldn't have brought it out if I can't think of it right now. But that's one of the major things I want to bring out. And I'm a yield because I don't want to take too much time. But the main thing out of everything that we're talking about is most or a lot of women that I know, I'm not going to say most because I have not met most women, but a lot of women that I know and seen and been around are not willing to allow the man to be that father, quote unquote, father figure that they desire. And if they're not allowing that to be the case, then that eliminates everything right there. Because a real man, especially a patriarchy man, is going to desire, because he is a man of the Most High Yah, to be that leader, that authoritative figure, that person that is going to influence this child down the direction and the path that they are to go, regardless of what this mother thinks. He would work it out with her, compromise and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, he has a vision as to what may or may not happen if this child does not operate in this light. Because he is a man, especially if it's boys. He is a man. So I want to put that out there. Your question, you said, what was that question you said? And I'm done. I'm gonna answer your question. I just want to bring that part out, and then I'm done after I answer your question.
Yeah. What I said was what do you think? Or what are your thoughts on women putting these high expectations of perfection and responsibility on men that they themselves are not bringing any value or anything to the table to give in return?
Give in return to the man or to the children?
In return to the man for these expectations that they're putting on him to take care of their children that's not his.
I would say that if they are to point and say that we're not acting in the light of Torah, that right there alone, to me, is not acting into the light of Torah or culture. Because, so somebody say something, or was that an echo on my side? I think that was an echo on my side. that expectation is not. It's not, in my opinion, it's just not feasible. It's not. Um, it's not. What's the word I'm looking for? Logical. It's not logical. It's just not. Especially if you're talking about taking in a whole different, a whole nother family. It's a lot of variables with this topic. I would need to know the actual details. You know, we would have to sit up here and paint out each subject or variable. Okay, is this person wanting you to financially take care of them too? Because it was a woman that posted a situation, the same post that's what we're talking about right now. And she was saying, I don't want any financial help. I don't need any of that. I'm not looking to be with a man. I'm not looking to, I think we shared that. And I'm not gonna put her name out there. But
Can.
yeah, I don't need no financial. I can take care of the children myself financially. I just want them to grow up and have a great righteous man. I'm with her on that, if that's the case. But she's one of the first women. This post is not talking the way that she was. This post that we're reading right now is not saying what she said. She literally said, no financial responsibility is needed. I just want them to be around men, righteous men, that they can learn from in some aspect, you know, in some shape, form, or fashion. I just want them, you know, in that regards, okay, cool. But if you need me to do financial, put financial things into play, and to do all these things, and you want me to raise them as their dad and things like that, then that's different, man. And the brother that posted that, you know, I think that was for I could be wrong. I just think it was for, you know, what they say today, clout. And with that, I yield.
Can. Excellent answer, questions, by the way, man.
And not for nothing, I think there's a point here that nobody seemed to have like really focused on the original post. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe somebody did speak on it, but when I first read that post,
bring it out, Chief.
No, I mean, when I first read it, I'm like, okay. Listen, man. I'm a fair man. I understand the plight, you know, the plight of the sisters, and they got children. I get it, no doubt. You want a righteous Israelite man. I get it. I get the sentiment. But when some of these women and some of the brothers, because some of the brothers who were simping on that post, they try to pull these scripts that says, yeah, you gotta look out for the fatherless. You know what I'm saying? The fatherless. Yeah, the fatherless. Now, what does that mean? When we look at the scriptures and the scriptures talk about the fatherless, we're talking about children who lost their parent or lost their father, whether by war or natural death or whatever the case. He is the fatherless. Those laws are not pertaining to mamzers.
Come on now, Chief. I knew he was going to hit that. Come on, Chief.
It does not, and I'm being honest here. I'm being honest and I'm being fair. The law does not pertain to whores and the children of whores. It pertains to women who were raised up and live in accordance to Torah, had children aligned in Torah with Torah-based men, and by chance of war or quote unquote natural causes or whatever, the father dies. Now, those men are supposed to come in, yes, and make sure that sister is good. No doubt, the community comes in. Hey, don't worry about that, sis. We got you. Why? Because that is a Torah sister. Those are Torah children. But what we have here, is we have some of these sisters who eat, and I'm not talking about sisters who were whores prior to coming into the truth and now have come in and they got their head. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about even some of the sisters who were already in the truth and they were moving to and fro in the community as whores.
Speak on it.
10, you know what I'm saying? 4 husbands in 10 years, I can divide. You know what I'm saying? So these laws are for they're taking into consideration righteous women who have children under righteous circumstances with righteous men. So yes, those sisters, oh, absolutely, brothers are supposed to step forward and make sure that those sisters are good. That's what the community is for, no doubt. The fatherless, the widows, and that's the reason why fatherless and widows is always mentioned in the same scripts, because the assumption is what? The woman lost her husband. She's a widow. Her husband died. We're not talking about, you know what I'm saying? We're not talking about scenarios where she was just playing the whore and she went from husband to husband to husband, and now she's like, hey, listen, I need somebody to help with these kids. No, that doesn't work.
I know a couple of them.
Hey, I know quite a few as well. And I see them on Facebook, and I just be looking like, come on now. You can fool the rest, but you can't fool me. I've been around long enough. I know how you got those children.
Okay.
I know how you got those children. Those children, and I'm gonna use the King James language here. Those children are bastards.
Okay.
Hey, but you know what though? They would still blame that on the man and say, well, the man, the man they played me. They basically got me pregnant and left me.
And they could do that. They could blame that. Listen, put no question, because we know we got piece of crap brothers out there, no doubt. So we're not even going to sit here and make it a no question. However, even after you lay the blame, it's the situation is still kind of what it is. You were also moving like now. You got these sisters who I'm saying. Well, I'm just gonna say it this way: you got some of these sisters out here that will say, "Well, this brother, he treated me this way, or whatever the case may be." But wait a minute, okay, yeah, all right, no doubt, he treated you, but you were also moving in a non-Torah, a non-Torah mentality. You had a mind of a whore. You were moving like a whore. Now, yes, the brother did you dirty. Cool, no question. But we cannot excuse your activities as well. He's a whoremonger, but he can't be a whoremonger and you're not a whore. Like it kind of goes, hand in hand. But my point is that you have these sisters who were moving foul, and they're trying to use the Torah to sanctify their whoredom. And I'm saying no. Those type of women should not get any assistance according to that law. No, those sisters, if you were moving like this and you knew you're an Israelite and you were moving a certain way, no, you got to hold whatever hand comes to your way. Whatever that situation, whatever hand those scenarios deal you got to hold that down. Because that whole situation was bred in wickedness. So you cannot use the law of the righteous woman to try to cover up your whoredom.
And you know what, Chief? You know what? This is what I want to say. I want to say this, and hopefully, if it's any women that watch this, let me know if I'm breaking up you all too. I want you all to tell me to, stop or shut up or whatever if I'm breaking up.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, cool.
Loud and clear.
So for the women that's listening now, or women that might listen later on, I really do hope this platform really spreads, because we're gonna bring some heat. I want to say this. Some might watch what we're saying, and those that know Chief is transparent than a mug. All of us actually are. If you all probably don't know us from Love Language. We was very transparent. I'm not gonna speak on what his transparency is. He might bring it out during this platform here. But what I do want to say, I want to say this. I want to be fair. Some women that came into the quote unquote truth, into this walk, into this culture, are new to it, or could be new to it. and got with a no good brother and thought that she was doing the right thing and learn from him. And I want to be fair on,
Yes,
on
sir.
all angles. That
Yes,
could
sir.
be the case. That literally, I want to be fair for those women right there. You might have got with a brother. He was new. He would have some knowledge, but he was foul, and he didn't teach you properly. He tricked you, and then boom, you had a child or whatever. Okay, if that's the case, then I hope you learned your lesson. I want to say that. Now, if you went back and did it again, well, one of the examples Chief brought out, then that's the problem right there. And the problem is we don't learn our lesson, men and or women. But I want to be fair, and I wanted to bring that out because it might be women that went into that situation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it has been, but Chief has been around for a long time. I've been in this almost 10 years in the so-called truth. Same with Shaul, 10 or 11 years. We know on a large scale that is women that after that first time, they still would go into the same, thing. Same with men. So what we got to do, us as the Masada Watchmen, we're trying to bring out these instances, bring out these things that take place and on both men and women. And we're trying to bring you all back to the true culture. We have to bring this stuff out before we can bring you to the culture, so you can understand. So I just want to put that out there. And that's it, man. Yeshayahu, Prince Shaul, y'all had anything else to add? Chief, if I cut you off, continue as well. But I wanted to throw that out for any listeners that might be like, well, I was new and I got this done to me. I mean, I get it. That's foul. Trust me. If you knew my story, I felt the same way.
Hey, and Kane, and I just want to say one other thing just to wrap up that point, and that is that a lot of these scenarios that we see playing out on social media, like the post that Prince had brought out. My thing is this: if you were moving in a foul manner, in a way that was unbecoming of a righteous Israelite woman, my thing is, if you're gonna come at brothers and say, hey, listen, I need this, and you brothers need to come and help, at least, at the very least, practice a little meekness. You ever see them? You ever see those women on Jerry Springer? They done been with like they done been with 5, 6, 7 dudes, and then they over here, they pull the 8th dude up here. What I'm saying? Yeah, he's the father, and they up in his face. You the father. I'm a million whatever times sure you're the father. And they get all crazy and loud, and then he is not the father. Now you're looking for. It's like, wait a minute. If you've been with 8 dudes, you might want to be a little bit more humble. Like, don't be, what I'm saying? I mean, don't be nasty about the situation. Don't come in saying, brothers, what I'm saying? Well, expectations. You have to do this, and no, actually, we should stone you.
Wow.
That's actually what you should get.
Wow.
But
That's so
being meek. But
Dang.
brothers is being meek and saying, okay, you know what? Hey, listen, things happen. Listen, we all came up in this walk. Those who know me know know how I was in my teen years. I wasn't a very good example of an Israelite man. And I hold that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying that if we're gonna be fair, if you have a foul track record in a relationship with relationships, you really should scuff your brake shoes and slow down and be a little bit more meek when trying to tell people what you should be or what they should be doing for you. No, brothers don't have to do anything for you. In fact, and like I said, in some of those situations, those sisters shouldn't even be getting conversation from brothers. Like, I know a sister right now on Facebook she be talking that talk, anti-man this and yada yada yada, and it's like, yo, you don't realize that most of us remember, like, yo, you were courting 3 dudes at the same time.
Okay.
In New York. And and I'm not trying to blow this person. I'd be like, okay, I ain't even gonna whatever. But I'll be watching these posts, and I'm like, really? You courting 3 dudes? These and both of them is in the same camp. They don't even know that each one is courting her.
Wow. And Chief, to your wisdom, to your wisdom, real quick. And I'm mad Prince Shaul didn't correct me on this. I'm mad he didn't correct me on what I'm gonna say. I stood up here and I just took up for this one sister that I said was in comparison to this post that we're reading. And I was on the phone with my elder Moreh Shalim, and this sister that posted this, I'm not gonna put a name out there. She got like real viral in the community. But her very first line, and I didn't even realize this until you just said what you said, was not meek at all. She came super hard before saying what she is before saying, hey, I don't need financial support, X, Y, and Z. I just want someone to come and be that father figure. I don't know if y'all hear click noises, but I don't know what it is. But in the very first line, the reason I'm bringing this out because you just said something about weakness. It was prideful. It was very attacking, in attacking nature. You know how people will kind of, before they ask you for something or before they say something, they would let you know that they trying to let you know, like, hey, well, I really don't need you, but man, if you would, type stuff. It was more
right.
Yeah, that's Prince, you goofy. I see your face, but that was how it was. And me and my other elder, Moreh Shalim, was speaking on that, and I was like, wow. So when you just said what you said, I thought about that. It's crazy because even when she was saying that, and I thought what she was saying was good, I just forgot about the first 3 sentences she said. And that did turn us off. And I just remembered that right now when you said that. That's a lesson in that too, by the way. The listeners that's listening, it is a lesson in that. Hopefully y'all caught what was just said.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yahoo.
What you got going on, man?
Come on, man. We need that psychology. We need that psychology major coming in, man. What's up?
He might have did the uptown bounce.
Hey, man, if he ain't gonna do it, I ain't gonna hold you then. You know what I'm
All
saying?
right, wait. Well, before we go into the I ain't gonna hold you. Before we go into the fishbowl follies, we got to get the word of the day. So those are the 3 topics that I got to get it in. Those are the 3 topics today. Again, I appreciate those listening in. I hope that y'all listen to the whole show, even though we had a little mishap. But I promise you, next week is gonna be better. My mic coming in. It's gonna just be so much better. But the word of the day is libnoth. Libnoth. I see you, Chief. You like that one. So, the first week.
Bring it out. Bring it out.
Came. The first week was Ketela, which is community. The second week was I'm not gonna do this when we get to our 10th and our 11th week. I'm not gonna go through all the weeks. But the second week was Echad. So you got community and you have Echad, which is one or unity, So you got community, unity, common unity. And then you got Libnot, which is to build. That word Libnot is to build in Hebrew. So I'm trying to put a narrative out there. You have community, you got oneness or unity, you want to build. So the word of the day today is Libnot, and it is to build. And with that, we're transitioning into the fishbowl follies. Passing it on to the Chief Rosh Zebulon.
Oh, I thought we wasn't gonna. I thought we was going into I ain't gonna hold you.
Hey.
My bad.
Ah,
Hey, he was looking at me like, "Are you really?"
that's crazy, man. No, look, I ain't gonna hold you.
I ain't gonna hold you.
I ain't gonna hold you. I was gonna kind of connect that to what we was just talking about because I ain't gonna hold you, man. Like, you know, women and men as adults is ridiculous, man. Okay, I just want to say that. I ain't gonna hold you on that, man. I just gotta tell the truth on that one, man. It's pathetic sometimes, man. Some of the stuff that we do as a people, man, and you know the psychological aspect, man. And you know, I wanted Yeshayahu to go into it, but you know, I'll touch on it a little bit, man. I ain't gonna hold you. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna hold you. You know, the man and the woman is, you know, has stepped away from their essential natures. You know what I'm saying? We have,
That's right.
we have the administrators, we have the, you know, and we have the managers. You know what I'm saying? We have the CEOs, and then we have the, you know, the chairman. You know what I mean? So, you know, you can't be
Yes, sir.
emotionless about everything. You know, it's definitely great when you're making decisions.
Say that again. Say
You
that
can't
again.
you can't be emotionless with everything. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm giving you sisters props on this, man. You can't be emotionless on everything. When it comes to making decisions and going to war or leading something or being over something, overseeing something, there is an aspect of making decisions without emotions that is very, very important and essential. But the balance, but I ain't gonna hold you. The balance that come into that is that the woman being emotional as she is definitely needed at times. It's just not needed when decisions are to be made, and when you're trying to lead and be over something. And so when you have brothers that's supposed to be administrators or CEOs or you know presidents or whatever over the estate, we have stepped away from that and we have allowed the woman because she's basically bogarting everything and allowed to bogart everything from those who are you know who's in power. We have allowed them to kind of take us out of the mold or the spirit of leading and administrating and managing, or not managing, but administrating and being the president over the board. Um, Now, when you talking about the chairman or the managers or whatever, you talking about the aspect of the woman that comes into play because everything that you do can't be emotionless, and everything that you do can't be with a whole bunch of emotion. It has to be a balance. So I want to say, man, that you know we got to stop holding each other up on you know living in our roles and you know playing those gender roles to its fullest. And I want to reference a point Shamar brought up earlier about will you know you allow that man to be able to you know discipline the children as if they were his own and do what he has to do as a father or as a role model to your children like you're asking, or are you gonna pretty much dictate or stand over it, hover over his shoulder, breathing heavy, talking about what he can and can't do? If that's what we gonna do, then I ain't gonna hold you. Get your ass out of here. I don't want to hear none of that.
Hey, look, hold on. You know, I got a comment on that. I got a
Oh
comment.
man.
Look, we having fun. We having fun. This is what we're gonna do here. We're gonna bring seriousness, but we're gonna have fun. But seriously, speaking on what he brought out, if
Okay.
that is not allowed, it is going to be a dysfunction and a failure. Trust me when I say that.
Okay.
It's going to be a dysfunction and a failure. Every person I know, including myself, that had parents that did that, and what he's talking about, failed.
Okay.
I'm not lying to you all. Anybody that's listening right now, really think about that. Think about what he brought out. If a man came into the picture and he was not allowed to be the man that he was supposed to be, and watch this. If he treated his children wrong, and you didn't allow him to treat his children wrong, what was the end result of their relationship? It ain't like you doing something different. Anyway, I ain't gonna hold you. I'm gonna go ahead and pass it on to
Right,
Ro.
right. Hey, but that was a great land back, as we say. That's a great land back, and that concludes. I ain't gonna hold you, man. I just had to make that one. I had to throw the little silliness in at the end, man. Because if I had to say that seriously, they would be like, "Oh my gosh, he's a woman hater" and all that type of stuff. But look, at the end of the day, look, there is the last thing I'm gonna say is there is a major play and sacrifice that has to be made for our people to get back to the glory that we all fantasize and talk about. And this is the thing. This is what I want all y'all to keep in mind, men and women. Just because you want to see the end doesn't the end. Sometimes, and in most cases, especially when you look in the scriptures, you had a generation that laid the foundation, but they didn't see the house built. And then you had a generation that laid the brick,
Come
but
on
didn't
now.
finish.
Right.
Come on now.
And then you had the generation that came after them that got a chance to live in the mansion. So at the end of the day, I ain't gonna hold you. Play your role and be grateful for what you're able to do right now, and understand that your play and the cards that you have to play right now, though it's a sacrifice, it's definitely needed for those who come 2 or 3 generations after us to be able to live in the foundation or live on the foundation that we set, that we may not ever see the house being built. You know what I mean? So that concludes. I ain't gonna hold you.
Hey, that man might got a gray beard a little bit, y'all, but he a young man.
Hallelujah.
He got a gray beard with a young man and great wisdom. Hallelujah. Come on now. Hey, I see you. I see you. I ain't gonna hold you. So now we're gonna go ahead and go to the Fishbowl Follies, led by the Rosh in Hebrew, which means the head, Chief Zebulon.
Okay. Fishbowl Folly. Ah, there you go. A lot of people don't pronounce the last name correctly. I don't know why, but
come on now. I'm a
but
student of yours. I gotta get it right if I'm a represent. Come on now. I'm a
okay,
student.
no doubt. Well, we all are. But yeah, Fishbowl Follies episode. This episode here, we're gonna deal with on Facebook, and I focus a lot on Facebook because this is where you find most of the lunacy. Twitter is too short of it's not you don't get enough writing on Twitter for you to really sound as foolish as you can on Facebook. There's you get endless amount of characters that you can type madness. And very briefly, I just want to just address something that's been on social media probably for as long as social media has been around, and that is ignorance. The thought that everybody is ignorant or wrong except the person who is speaking. And my thing is then like, well, all of us are ignorant. It just depends on the topic.
That's right.
None of us are walking around, you know what I'm saying? None of us are walking around with completed knowledge bases. All of us are still kind of, doing a Deuteronomy 28 move and, kind of looking for the light, groping at noonday, so to speak. Part of the effect, the effect of being a true seeker. When we talk about being a true seeker, is that one of the things that you got to remember is that there's a great possibility, y'all, that you could be wrong. That's a possibility. And a lot of times on social media, we run into a lot of people who the thought of being wrong is it's completely foreign to them. But everybody else on social media is wrong. Everybody else is wrong, but you're not wrong. But everybody does this. And I even did it at one point in time, where and I had to stop and say, "Well, wait a minute." But I've been wrong numerous times over the years in my youth. Maybe I need to humble myself and kind of take it easy. And this is what I say to a lot of people that are on social media, Facebook specifically, that if you've been doctrinally wrong multiple times over the past 5-10 years, you may want to slow down and court your doctrine. Don't bring it out on social media. Court it. Take time. You know what I'm saying? Take time. Spend time with that doctrine. Take a year, 2 years, 3 years, or whatever like that, and get the doctrine right. Get your whatever your platform is. Get it tight. Tighten it up, and then you can bring it forth to other people. But jumping out the window and saying I am this and I know this and everybody else is wrong, you're only setting yourself up for failure. And failing is what you will do. With that said, again, all of us are ignorant just on different subjects. Hallelujah. Shalom.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Can y'all hear me?
Okay.
All right, man. I gotta make sure I move it over for the next show, man. I'm just still trying to get used to this. This was an awesome show to me. Yes, Yahoo. Before I say anything, did you all want to go ahead and close out? And then I'll go ahead and finish it off. Let's go in the order of the chief. That's the head, Rosh. And then we go with Yeshayahu, Prince Shaul, and I end it off. Let's go ahead and get a closing statement, and then we're going to let everybody go, man. We're going to let everybody go.
Okay, I don't really have much else to say other than as always, man, it's a blessing, honor to to be able to build, share thoughts with with my brethren, my fellow Masada watchmen, and to everyone out there who is also partaking in what we're bringing out. Toda for tuning in. Those of you who haven't tuned in, you will eventually. With that said, Yoreka Yah, Waish Mareka. May the Most High bless and guard you all.
Hallelujah. Yeshayahu. Can we get a closing statement from you, my beloved brother? All right, so he might be occupied. Prince, I'm gonna need you to stop laughing, man. Okay. So
Hey, y'all be doing some funny stuff, man.
We need this in Israel. We need this white people, man. But I'm gonna shut up. I'll talk to y'all after this. We gotta chop it up.
I got you, man.
Go ahead, close out for us.
All right, well, look, man. I would say that today was a great show, or tonight was a great show. I want to give a shout out to the people listening and watching. I hope you guys continue to tune in and watch, continue to support the channel, support the show, and all the encouraging words. And I also want to say that despite the topic being on women tonight, there's no ill will or ill manner towards women at all. We respect sisters. We love sisters. Because without them, we would not be able to have beautiful children and families.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And we would not have a nation without the women. And so at the end of the day, I want to give encouraging words to the sisters who are trying to do right, those who may not know a lot right now. They may have watched the show tonight and may have gotten offended by what we said. We're talking about a certain demographic of women. We're not talking about all women. So I do want to throw that out there. There are a lot of good sisters out there, good intellectual sisters out there, very, very smart, that's doing their thing and taking care of their families and being good to their husbands and their children. and doing what they're
Yes, sir.
supposed to do. Even to the single sisters, it's a lot of them as well that's trying to do the best that they can and is doing a good job. And so I don't want to take that away from them. We don't want to take that away from you guys. And at the end of the day, we love you. We salute you. And to the brothers out there that's listening, to you that's and, you know, because we getting on y'all head too. It's coming. It's coming.
Oh, it's coming.
We get on it.
You better
we,
believe it.
Right?
we going
That's
in
right.
on y'all, bro.
They
We
not
get to
calling.
y'all. But to the brothers that is trying to do right, to the young brothers, to the older brothers, I salute my elders. I salute my you know, my Dodiem out there. I salute my Akeem out there. I salute all you guys, man, for doing what y'all been doing. The brothers that's taking care of these families. You know, you guys trying to do the best y'all can. Y'all paying your bills. You're trying to lead the best you can. You're studying. You're praying to the Most High. Salute to you, brothers. And also, last but not least, like you said, in honor of Ben Amin, man, look, we ain't gonna never come up out of this unless the man get his relationship right with the Most High, man. So, all praise to the Most High, and that's what that's my
Hallelujah.
closing statements right there, man. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah, man. Look, I told myself I'm gonna be short, but like you all, man, look, give me a couple minutes, y'all. Just give me a couple minutes. I gotta say this. I appreciate these brothers right here, man. Yeshayahu. Today was an amazing day for my man's right here. You know, he jumped out the plane, I believe, for the first time in his life. You know, so he probably living it up. He's still on that high right now. Good brother. You know, me and him be going at it sometimes, but I just wanted him to know I love him. Then we got Prince Shaul, man. This man right here. I can't wait till y'all get to learn more of his personality. I love how he broke it down at the end, and he let you all know we objective. We are objective. Everybody that's listening, I need you to understand that. This is our third show, so we have to get you all to learn it. You know, if you ain't catching along, we just gonna tell you. We're very objective. We're gonna be real. So for the women out there and for the men, we're going to be real according to our perspective, our opinion, and our knowledge and understanding and wisdom. We're going to do that, and we're going to do that in the righteous way. Now, we do understand that righteousness or righteous itself is looked at differently from different people. You know, you have a few people on this platform that are decently well, and I want to say in an expertise sense, equipped from a biblical standpoint of what that pertains to and culturally pertains to. So we do understand those different point of views. And that's why we want to relate to each person that understands those point of views. I want to say that. So sometimes we might say things that could be understood or might not be understood, but give us a chance, give us a second, give us a moment. Stick with us, and you'll see we're going to provide information that can actually help us as a nation, so-called black man and woman, and those that identify with being B'nai Yisrael or Israelites. Okay, give us a chance. I love the fact that Prince Shaul was letting you know, although he's being stern and straightforward, and we need that. That's lacked in the so-called black community of black males. A lot of us have family that are it's more matriarchal. I don't have anything against that, but it's from a standpoint if it's filled with that. My whole family is filled mostly women. I'm one of the only men in my family that operates the way that I do. It's a lot of failure because of that. Not because the woman is weak and the man is strong, but because it's a lack of balance. So we need men like Prince Shaul that's going to be straight up with you, stern, and is going to deliver what he brings forth with righteousness according to the literature. We're going to bring that out to you all. But we're going to relate to you all on modern current affairs as the chief Zebulon will bring forth, or as the Chief Zebulon brings in the topics. So I love the fact that he said at the end that we're not against the system. My beloved brother just got married a few weeks ago. Shout out to Yana. You know, he loves the so-called black woman. He loves the so-called Israelite. Trust me. This man is very, very deep in that. And I want to put a shout out to Chief Zeb, you know, one of my Maureen. I don't have a lot of them. I got two. Because we could be a special people. So, you know, when I met these brothers, you know, I'm giving praise to them, man. Hallelujah for them. You know, when I met these brothers, the Yeshayahu, the Prince Shaul, and the Chief, it actually brought me closer. I was already close to the Most High, but it brought me closer because it gave me more belief into the remnant concept that I push, doctrine I push to people. It's a remnant. And that goes into what we're speaking of today. And I'm sorry if I'm long-winded, but I want you to understand this. A lot of the things that we're bringing forth is due to it is only a remnant in all these subjects. It's a remnant, family, in all of these subjects. We're trying to get you all and ourselves included into the remnant so we can make it larger than a remnant. We can make it to where we are thriving as a people economically, you know, thrive as a people from a love standpoint, from a military standpoint. All of these things. We see this in other ethnicities. That's our goal. The Masada Watchman is to watch these things, bring forth what we see to help prevent people infiltrating us and things of that nature. So we want to bring that out. But with all that, I yield. I just wanted to bring that out. I love you all. We love you all. Please tune in. If you have any questions and you want to get a hold of us, reach us at our email, theMasadaWatchman@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter at Masada Watchman. And we got the links all over here. YouTube, the Masada Watchman, Facebook page, the Masada Watchman, and Black Junction. I would love for you all to join Black Junction at the Masada Watchman. And just join in general because, you know, a lot of us talk about outlets and all of that things. We want differences. It's a great platform. It's like a so-called black version of Facebook. So with that, I yield. Be prepared for the next week because it only is going to go up from this point. Shalom. We love you all. And we are the Masada Watchman. Hey, Yana.
We are the Masada Watchman.
We are the Masada Watchman,
Shalom,
man.
shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.